Hi and hello everyone. I'm Lucas Alexander. This is the Lucas Alexander Show. Welcome to my podcast. This is a special tribute series honoring the great late Tina Turner, who sadly passed away 2 months ago on the 24th of May 2023. We are in July 2023, and this is Remembering the Queen of Rock series. Today, my guest is a very special lady from Brownsville, Tennessee, very close to Nutbush, where Tina grew up, where, of course, we know the song Nutbush City Limits, but this is where the Tina Turner Museum is now a great success in Brownsville, Tennessee at the West Delta Heritage Center. And today I'm interviewing the director of the Tina Turner Museum, Sonia Outlaw-Clark. Tonight and today, because we're going all the way to Tennessee and I'm in Copenhagen, Denmark, so we are a long way away from each other. I am happy and honored to have on my show the director of the Tina Turner Museum at the West Delta Heritage Center in Brownsville, Tennessee, Sonia Outlaw-Clark. Sonia, it's wonderful to have you on today.
Thank you, Lucas. It's great to be here. Great to see you again.
We haven't seen each other, and I think maybe it's since 2016 or 17 when I was there in Tennessee with all of you and had this wonderful, amazing time at the museum, and where you and I got to know each other. It's such special memories, huh?
It's time for you to come back.
It certainly is, and I want to as soon as possible. And I'm just really thrilled to hear that you'll continue to make those special weekends honoring Tina also here after her death at 83. But Sonia, tell me a little bit, first of all, we have a lot of stuff to talk about here, but what did Tina Turner mean to you?
That's a hard question. I've been asked that a lot lately. I think the thing that stands out the most to me, and I didn't really realize it until we were getting ready to do our Twilight Memorial for her on the Sunday after she passed away. And standing on the stage here and looking out at the folks that were there, I realized that Tina had connected me to people all over the world, friends that I would never have had, people I would have never met like you. And I think, she was such a great connector. And to me, that's what she represents now, is she was just such a phenomenal musician, of course, an artist, but she had this wonderful power of being able to connect people and bring people together and encourage and inspire. And I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity and continue to have the opportunity to try to keep her legacy alive and to connect with the fans and to be part of the Tina family.
Absolutely, and I certainly feel the same, because there are so many beautiful, wonderful friendships that I also formed over the years, and I've been, in the Tina circles for oh my God, most of my life basically. So it's been absolutely amazing. And it's not just Tina, as you just said. It's not just her music, her amazing personality, everything she stood for, her voice and those songs that we can sing along to, but those friendships and those meetings and everybody we got to know, some of them are actually soul relationships, I'll say. So it's really quite amazing. And it's on both sides of the ocean, right?
It is. It's all over the world. I made the comment that night. I feel like if I could be anywhere in the world right now, and if I needed someone, there would be somebody close by that I could actually call on that I know through the Tina connection. If I was in your part of the world and had a flat tire on the side of the road, I think I could call you and say, come help me.
You're always welcome here, Sonia, and we hope to see you here in Europe as well. So that will be wonderful. This was actually, Tina's part of the world for half of her life, basically. Have you ever been to Europe?
I have not. So I really am looking forward to visiting and seeing what it's like over there.
Yes, so many different experiences and adventures. Every country is different. So, but also in America, there are so many different, parts of the country and so much to see. And I was just so thrilled to go to Tennessee, which is Tina's home state, and to Nutbush. Everybody will know her song Nutbush City Limits. And it was so amazing to be there with all of you in Brownsville. How would you describe Tina's legacy now?
I think her legacy is going to continue to be the music, I think it's going to be a long time before anybody can claim the accolades and the accomplishments that Tina made. I think she made strides in an area that no one had ever done before, and I think that will go on for a long, long time. And hopefully with her museum here and with our Tina gatherings and with the friendships that we've all formed, that we will keep that alive for a long time. I know we've had obviously increased visitation here to the museum since her death, and the number of younger people, even children, who are coming to visit and being exposed to her, who might not have had that exposure before. Their parents, their grandparents are coming here just to experience the museum and exposing them. Maybe maybe that's maybe not on purpose. They're not coming for that reason to expose those children, but they're being exposed to it. And so many of them I've heard that song before. I had no idea who sang it. So now they're making that connection and realizing that there was so much in the music industry that happened before the music they're being exposed to today. And I think that's a great legacy to leave that for a new generation. And also her story leaves a huge impact. And as that story is shared, it's going to obviously impact everyone, as it always has. I'm sometimes surprised I guess one of the biggest surprises when we started doing Tina Turner Heritage Days was the younger people that came here, like you and others, who, I consider her an artist for my generation, but really she was more an artist for your generation and a younger generation already. So, she's going to continue to inspire music and lives for a long time.
Absolutely. And thank you for the compliment about being really young. But I did start out when I was 8 years old. That was when I was introduced to Tina. And so that's why I say she's been part of my life for most of my life. And I was around, I think, 10 or 11 the first time I saw her in concert. And, I've been lucky to see, I can't even count how many shows. It's almost embarrassing. But now thinking about it, it's what a privilege. what something you'll never have again. You'll never get it with any other artist. Not that you would want to. I certainly wouldn't. I couldn't think of anybody who can, even, that nobody's like Tina. She was just one in a million. But I mean, do you think, and this is what you were talking about here, do you think that her death actually introduced her to a new generation in a way?
I do. I do. And maybe that's kind of sad to say, but I do. I believe that that the attention that was given to her passing and the attention that was given to her life is given a boost, and that new generation is going to absolutely know who Tina is.
Definitely. What made you decide to take on that really rather major task, becoming director of the Tina Turner Museum and doing that there in Brownsville? I mean, it's really major. And suddenly you were there in the center of all of it, right? I mean, how did it all start, Sonia?
It really wasn't planned. It was just a series of conversations and being in places where things were talked about and knowing the importance of her career, the fact that she was a hometown girl that had become the international music icon that she was. She was a legend in the music industry. Our music heritage and history here runs really deep, and Tina being a big part of it. I'd heard stories all my life about anime, and unfortunately, I never got to see her in concert. It was one of those things. She's a hometown girl. There'll always be an opportunity to do this, and I never took the opportunity to go to one of her concerts, thinking there would be future opportunities, which was a big mistake. But just being in the right place at the right time and having conversations and thinking it would never really happen, that we would be able to save her school and to do what we've done. But it did happen. It took a lot of people, fans, people from all over the world contributed to the project. Locals contributed to it. It took a lot of people to make it happen. And I just hope that I can do it justice and can continue for as long as I can, and that when I'm no longer here, somebody else will still have that same passion to make sure that it continues here as well.
Oh, certainly. We must hope that, and the right people, of course. And what you've done for a long time is very, very important also for Tennessee and locally for Brownsville. But I mean, how did the whole idea come about to create and to make this museum and to restore the Flag Grove School that was Tina's school, actually, because that was a really worn down shack, wasn't it?
Well, it was being used as a barn. It had been closed as a school since the late 60s, 1960s. And really what it boiled down to was the farmer that was farming the Stevens land needed to put in an irrigation system, and the school was sitting in the middle of the field. So essentially it had to come down. We would lose it entirely. Or thanks to the Stevens family, they said, if you'd like it, we'll donate it. You've just got to move it and restore it. And so we set about creating a plan to restore it and to get it moved. Our intentions starting out, we never dreamed it would be what it was. We intended to save the school. We knew it had a huge educational aspect. The legacy of the education from that school and the students that attended, not only Tina, but all the other students too, and the things they had gone on to accomplish was very important. A lot of our one-room schoolhouses were being lost. They were being torn down for the same reason or for neglect and just falling down. So we knew that the educational component of the school was important enough to save the school on its own. The fact that Tina attended was kind of like the cherry on top. And when we contacted her team, contacted Rhonda Graam, who I know knew, and told them what we were doing and that we would like to say that it was a school that Tina attended. She graciously agreed, talked a little bit about the educational value and how important education is. And then we kind of went about getting ready to restore the building, doing a little work here and there, raising money. As we would raise money, we would, we put the roof on, we got it in the dry, and then we started doing other things. And so my understanding is that she originally thought, because that whole area is Nutbush to us now. But when Tina was here, there was like Nutbush that sits right on the highway. There was the Flag Grove community that was a few miles down the road. There was the St. Peter's community that was a little this way. There was Tibbs in another direction. And all of that area to us today we call Nutbush. So when we asked her if we could move her school from Nutbush, she thought we were talking about the white school. So,
did she really?
Yes.
Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the white school sat in Nutbush on the highway. So she thought that was the one that we were trying to move. But once she saw a photo of the school and recognized it and realized it really was Flag Grove School, she jumped on board. And then it became a much broader and bigger product. That's how the museum came about, the Tina Turner Museum, because when she found all that out, and I'll never forget, Rhonda called and said, "What are you doing next week?" And I had a conference, and I said, "Well, I'm going to this conference." And she said, "Well, what are you doing the next week?" And I said, "Well, I'll be around here." "Why?" She said, "I'm coming. I'll be in Tennessee."
Oh, wow. That was how it all started.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So she came and spent a week here, talking about the school, exploring some different places around the area that Tina had asked her to see if it was still here. It had been many years since Tina had been here. And so we just spent a week together doing stuff. And the next thing I knew, Tina was fully involved in the project and, sent Stephen Seals from New York to design the exhibit, sent the costumes, the gold record awards, and all the memorabilia that's in the school, sent it from Switzerland. This huge crate shows up in the driveway. And it was just like Christmas time, taking that crate apart and starting to unpack all that when it showed up here. So,
that must have been amazing, because I mean, these are the real costumes and the real letters and the real artifacts and memorabilia that Tina actually donated to the school, right? I mean,
that's right.
This was priceless.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And yes. Rhonda was there when that whole thing arrived?
Yes. Yes, Rhonda was here. I can't remember if Stephen was here when we unpacked or if he was here the next day. I think maybe we unpacked everything and got it in the building, and I think he came the next day maybe. But yeah, Stephen, it was really amazing.
Stephen Sills was involved with Tina in was it her stage production, or what was that actually? I forget.
I think Stephen has been involved in a lot of things that Tina had done. I think he decorated her home in France.
All right. That was probably why. Yeah. I just knew the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's out of New York. I think he had done a lot of the decorating her homes and some different places and different things for her. So great guy. We loved having him here. He was a lot of fun.
Great. So what was it like? I mean, suddenly when you contacted Rhonda, she got Tina involved and everything happened. Then suddenly it just took off, right? And then it could materialize. And I know that Tina also backed the whole project a bit. But I mean, what was it like for you to work with Rhonda, and you became friends, and Rhonda Graam was she was such She was an amazing lady who worked for Tina since 1964. I got to do this amazing interview with her at the museum there where you are right now. We had this wonderful time together, and sadly she's no longer with us. So we've lost both Rhonda and Tina. So that's a huge loss to all of us. But I mean, what was it like to work with her? She was so energetic and direct and quite amazing. She got things going, right? And she could do things. She had done that for Tina for 55 years.
You're right. She was powerhouse is a good word for Rhonda. She definitely kept things going, kept things moving. You know, we in Tennessee move at a little slower pace than I think the rest of the world. Definitely slower than LA. So I'll never forget there was something that we needed, and you couldn't get it in Brownsville, but you could get it in Jackson. And she said, well, we need that. And I was kind of doing running and stuff. And I kept standing there for a minute. And she said, are you not going? And I'm like, you want me to go to Jackson right now? And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, okay. Because, you know, we don't just run to Jackson on a whim. You know, that's 30 miles away, you know. And I understood. She said, well, you know, that's nothing. You know, that's not even across town in LA. So, but I said, well, I was kind of waiting to see if we needed other things I could pick up at the same time I'm there. But it was interesting to move at a faster pace with her around.
We spoke with Turner's personal assistant, who tells us she's excited about the new honor.
Oh, she's very honored and proud, because she also recognizes that it brings up her roots in the area, and just thrilled that it's brought recognition, like I said, to the community and everything, but just that it's doing well for students and everyone.
Graam says Turner was not able to accept the award in person due to health-related issues.
I also want to give thanks to Rhonda Graam in coordinating the project and assisting Stephen Sills, and the wonderful Sonia Outlaw-Clark, whose patience and persistence gave birth to the project.
She became a great friend, and there's not hardly a day that goes by that I don't, you know, we sometimes would talk 2 or 3 times a day, or we'd at least talk every few days. And there's so many times I want to pick up the phone and say, hey, we just did such and such. And I'm like, I can't call Rhonda and tell her that.
Yeah, it's just terrible. I mean, so much has happened since then, and it all really went very fast, you know, those years, and suddenly, you know, those 2 very important people died. Even Tina's 2 sons suddenly died, you know, before her. I mean, it's been a few very tragic years, and also with those 3 major illnesses. And I know that when I did the interview with Rhonda, nobody knew about it, but we kind of knew, a lot of us. But, you know, of course, Rhonda wouldn't talk about it. But, you know, it was 10 very difficult years for Tina, but actually also for Rhonda, who sadly passed away from cancer. But you couldn't tell, because she was so full of energy, so energetic. What you talk about, she had been on her toes, you know, working for Tina at a very fast pace all of her life. You know, she was kind of always somebody to think ahead. Oh, she would probably want that or like that, and before Tina even knew it, Rhonda would present it to her. That's some of the stories we heard, you know.
Right. And that's the kind of person Rhonda was. She was very protective of Tina. You know, she made sure, you know, from the interview, she made sure she didn't say something wrong. She made sure she didn't give anything away that shouldn't be. And not that, you know, anyone was trying to keep anything, but I think it was important that personal life stay personal, obviously, for Tina and for all of them. And she was very good at that.
If Rhonda was not going to do it, nobody would. So definitely Rhonda was very protective. She knew exactly what to say and not to say. And when I talked to her, you know, several times about doing that interview, she said, Yeah, okay. Well, she was not the one she didn't want to be interviewed because that was what Tina did. And I said, but I also want to honor your legacy, what you have done. You've been part of music history. So yes, it is about Tina. That's what the people want to know, but we also want to hear about you. You're amazing. And it's become a huge success on YouTube now, even before Tina passed. But I mean, the thing, what she said eventually was, I'm not going to go into the things about Ike and the problems that they had. And she said, I know you will ask about it and you should, but I will have to say that let's talk about something else or go to the next question. But I know that you would want to say it because everybody would ask that question. So we kind of went into it, and then she said, oh, it's old history. And then we went on to the next thing. So I thought, wow, she's very clever. She's very intelligent, and she's, she knows what the next thing is going to be. And that's how I felt as well, sitting there across from her doing that show.
Yeah. Yeah. And she, you're right. She was very comfortable with being in the background, not wanting to jump out in front and not get it. She was comfortable not getting the recognition that she deserved because she certainly was instrumental in all of that. So
it's so true. She didn't even she was very humble, didn't want the recognition. She really deserved that. And I think in a way, don't you think, actually, she got that in the musical because that was 1 year later and she was very important, as she should be. But also, it did talk about her in the musical. It did talk about her being Ike's first white girlfriend. It did talk about her being Tina's closest friend through the hard times and difficult times because she was in it as well. But I guess she didn't want to really talk about her past in that way because she also went through it,
Right. Yes, absolutely. It was interesting to see that in the musical as well. I wasn't expecting that.
No, the same here. I was amazed, but I think it was important. And obviously Tina and Irvin, her husband, they produced that show and decided what could be in or not eventually. So I thought it was also a wonderful, homage to Rhonda in a way. But do tell me, Sonia, because it was really amazing. And it was like the last time anybody ever saw Tina publicly. You attended the premiere in New York, on Manhattan there and on Broadway when Tina went to America for the very last time to attend that premiere. And I know Rhonda was there. And you had the great fortune to meet Tina. And I guess you're one of the last people who actually got a chance to meet Tina in person. What was that like? And what was that whole day and experience like for you?
It was kind of a whirlwind, and I had never thought about it in those terms until you said that to me earlier, that, I may have been the last one who saw her publicly, who during all that, because that it's been 4 years since that, so I'd never really considered it in that sense of it. And it was unexpected. I did not know that was going to happen. I was meeting up with Rhonda and was going to drop off Tina's Tennessee Lifetime Music Achievement Award, and I thought that was going to be it. Had no idea what was coming next, so that was totally a surprise. Had no idea where I was at. I guess it sounds kind of corny that it was comfortable, and she just, it was like she was just meeting a neighbor down the street or something. I think she just made you feel that at ease around her. Of course, I'm in the same room with 40 other people that are her friends, and it took me a little while to figure out, she walks around the corner of the table and she says, Sonia, I'm so glad that you're here. And all in a, after we've greeted each other and stuff, and she's moved on down to the next person, I'm standing there. How did she know my name?
So you met Tina, and Rhonda arranged for you to give her the award?
Yes.
Okay, so Rhonda arranged that. You had that great moment, and you were at the table as well. She moved down, and then suddenly she was passing by, and she knew your name and talked to you again?
Yes. And, then it suddenly dawned on me, I was the only person in the room that it was a process of elimination. She knew everybody else there. I had to be me, but it was, it was a great evening. It was very, just very comfortable. That's the best word I have to describe it. It was, laid back. It was, of course, there were other people there. She's talking to everyone. The people from the play are coming out. Katori Hall, who wrote the play, comes in. The directors come in. Some of the producers are in and out, speaking to her and stuff. But it was, it was magical. My first time in New York City, my first time to a Broadway play, and then now I'm sitting here across from Tina Turner. So, but it was nice. She was very down to earth. She was very cordial. She was very just hometown girl. It wasn't, even though she's this big, huge star, it was just comfortable. She made you feel comfortable and welcome.
Yes. And also, I think knowing that you had done this great work with the museum about her, that also, of course, was why you were there naturally, and you had this great opportunity, and this was very amazing. And of course, Rhonda told her everything about what was going on. I also remembered that Rhonda brought her own camera when I was there. And she said, okay, and she asked me, because she knew I was good at taking pictures. So she asked me to take a couple with her and Robbie Montgomery, Miss Robbie of Sweetie Pies, and lots of other things when we went to the Carver School, right? The gym, the big hall there where there was the show. And she said that she wanted to show those pictures to Tina. So it was always about involving her and telling Tina what was actually going on there, even though she couldn't be there herself. And so that's what I think she did. She really involved Tina. And that's probably also why she knew quite a bit about you, maybe.
Absolutely. Even when we were putting the school together and putting the exhibits together, Stephen and Rhonda were working on those exhibits, but they also had Tina on the phone. And they were sharing ideas back and forth about how it should be exhibited. And Stephen was saying, well, I think, what do you think about this? This will go here and this will go here. And Tina was having input in that as well. So she was always kept up to date on what was going on and always had a hand in it.
Mm-hmm. So talk about that memorable night where you got to see her and meet everybody. So this was after the play, right? This was after the premiere. And Adrienne Warren, who, of course, and very deservedly so, won the Tony for her portrayal as Tina. Many people has played Tina now in London and in Broadway in Germany, Australia, Madrid, wherever it's playing. But Adrienne was kind of the first and was really very amazing, wasn't she?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, she really was.
And what was that night like? So Rhonda was there and Roger Davis was there as well, right? Tina's manager?
He was, yes.
Did you get to talk to those people, and Irvin as well? I mean, Irvin is known to be kind of a recluse in a way. I don't know if you got a chance to meet him.
I did get a chance to meet him. He was very attentive to the guest. He was very attentive to Tina. But he mingled and he talked with everyone, and I did get to sit and talk with him for a little bit. And, got to meet Roger. That was the first time I had met Roger in person. We had, I had talked to his office and stuff, but that was the first time I got to meet him in person. He actually walked up to me and introduced himself and told me he was glad I was there. But yeah, seriously, I can't tell you where I was because I know nothing about New York. I don't know where we went to. I got in a taxi afterwards and told them what hotel I was in, and they took me back.
It was a country girl going to the big city, huh?
We made a big joke out of that. We were definitely country come to town. Pam Stevens, who she and her husband is who donated the school. It was on their farm, their property. Joe's dad bought it from the school system when they were selling it in the 60s, and she was able to go with me. Joe was not able to go that week, but Pam was able to go with me. It was a couple of really fast 2 days. Tina was being inducted into the Memphis Music Hall of Fame, I think. So I think the musical opened on Thursday evening, and then Tina was being inducted into the Memphis Music Hall of Fame on Friday evening. So after all that was over with, I was jumping on a plane to be back in Memphis for that induction the next night. So, a lot of that is really blurry now.
A couple of really intense days. I mean, and also, a dream coming true, because it's kind of, it's very rewarding when you've put so much work into creating the museum and you are the one that drives it, and people come to your place there. And so it was really wonderful because Tina wasn't in America. That was her last time. And the reason why I say that you're probably one of the last people who saw her was because just a couple of months after, the whole pandemic thing started, and nobody, and then after that, Tina didn't go out and became worse in terms of her health, and then suddenly died here 2 months. It's just 2 months ago, and it's been a really sad, difficult time for all of us who really, loved her and admired her, but I mean, it must have been very special that day for you. And I'm thinking everybody thought that, she was not too well. She seemed very fragile on that day. Did you sense that she was not well?
I don't know that I would say not well, which obviously she wasn't, but she was fragile. But then you think about, the age and all that she's done in her life. She still was amazing. She walked on that stage that evening and, she greeted everybody and then, came from there to where we were. And we were there for at least a couple of hours or so. So, I think she was doing phenomenally well for all that she was doing that evening. I think she was holding up really well by the time I met her.
Oh, she certainly wasn't, as you say, holding up, because I did hear that she was going back to Europe a couple of days earlier than she had planned because she was not feeling too well, sadly. But my God, she looked amazing that night, didn't she?
She did. She absolutely did. Yes.
What was it like being that close to her at that time? Did she look this great also in person? I mean, that time she just turned 80 or was just about to turn 80.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. She looked wonderful. Yeah, you would probably have never guessed her age just looking at her. She was very cheerful. She was very up. Yeah, she looked good. She looked really good.
Did you know prior to her passing in May 2 months ago that it was going that way, that it was that close?
I did not know that it was that close, no.
I guess nobody really knew, actually.
No, I mean, no. Yeah, how would you know? No, but I was certainly sad to hear it. It's a great loss.
Oprah, she said publicly here after Tina's death that she had back surgery in February and she kind of knew. But she was also there that night. Did you get a chance to see her? Was she there at that after party?
I saw her at the musical. I did not see her at the dinner.
But Rhonda is also gone. I mean, how do you keep in contact with Tina's people? As I just said, Irvin is not, he's kind of a recluse and he's not really doing much. Is there a new assistant who is kind of involved with her estate or a lawyer or somebody that you can talk to keep the whole thing going? Because we're all hoping that this museum can be a huge success for many, many years to come.
Well, we're hoping that too. I'm definitely hoping that. I do keep in touch with someone.
Good. Good to know.
Yeah.
And as a daughter of Tennessee yourself, I suppose, how does it feel that the greatest female in rock and roll music and the greatest male, Elvis Presley, and even the greatest country queen, Dolly Parton, is from your state? I mean, Tennessee certainly produced some really amazing heavyweights in music, the best, right?
That's right. That's right. There is a tremendous musical heritage in this area. And, maybe it's in the water. Who knows? But maybe it's, especially this part of the country and the western part where, we farm. And, for a long time, what else would you do besides go to work? And, there wasn't a lot to do for relaxation or anything. So music kind of seems to be the natural remedy to get you through the hard work and to get you through those long evenings.
Maybe, but it's really quite remarkable because this is an international phenomenon with all of these people coming from Tennessee. And now that I've been lucky to visit there, you wouldn't maybe think, oh, this country will produce this area will produce all of these people, but it's absolutely amazing. It was so fascinating also to visit Nutbush there, even though there's not a lot to see, but we kind of knew from the pictures and Tina's videos what was going to be there, right? And that's very close to Brownsville, where you're from, right?
That's right. Nutbush, which is just a small farming community, is about 12 miles outside of Brownsville. A lot of people that come here who want to go out to Nutbush are surprised to learn that it's not really a city, that it never had city limits. So I think some people who just know the song are expecting more when they go there, but it's just a small farming community, a wide spot in the road, but certainly recognize that the queen of rock and roll is from there.
A lot of people, or said not a lot of people, but we met a couple of people when I was there who actually went to school with Tina. Or are they still around?
Oh yeah, quite a few of them are still around. Yes.
This was amazing, to actually remember her going back that far and from picking cotton and all of that, because the world changed since then with the segregation and the black community versus the white community and all of that. I mean, is that something that is still important or part of the whole story of Tennessee? Is that something you see every day there, or is it gone, that whole racial barrier? We don't have that same way here in Europe.
The race relations here, especially in Brownsville, are really good. We certainly don't want to forget that history, and we don't want to repeat that history. We think we have come a long ways, or at least I feel like we have come a long ways. We do lots together. You learn to get along in a small community, and you learn to depend on each other. And Brownsville is really great about when there's something that needs to be done. It doesn't matter what color you are. We just all work together and get it done. So it's wonderful to be from here. It's a great place.
Yes, and I had the opportunity to try and pick cotton. Well, it was only a couple of, it's only for a few minutes, but it was actually quite an experience, I have to tell you.
So what was that experience like?
Well, to be there, like what Tina described, and of course it's not just Tina who described it, but a lot of people from the past described what, that was their childhood. That was what they were doing, picking cotton. And to even see that, I'd never seen a cotton field in my life. I actually had never seen that. I don't even know if we have them in Europe. I guess maybe we have them in the South. Could be. I'm in the North, right, in Scandinavia, but I had never, even in America, I usually go to Los Angeles or New York or Chicago, but I had never been there. And to see that was quite amazing, and to kind of go and to get the sense of what it was like. It was to be in all of those places. Also in the church we went to with that lady who also was there and remembered Anna Mae Bullock, which was Tina's real name from the past. I mean, it was going back in history, Tina's history, but it made a great impression on all of us. It was an adventure in itself, I think. It really was.
I think you're right. I'm always surprised during Tina Turner Heritage Days at the people who come and who have never, I guess we take it for granted because, cotton fields surrounding us is just part of our culture. It's always been here. We're an ag community, so that's one of our main industries. And I'm always surprised at people who have not seen cotton, who don't realize what cotton is. But also the sense of we're so small. I know we're a small town, but, coming from where you're from into these small communities, we joke about culture shock, but it seems to be a real culture shock. Some people who come here will say, okay, I've been here for a couple of days. I got to get back to the city. But they come back.
I didn't feel like that, certainly. And also here in Denmark, we have both. We have places that look very much like Tennessee, actually, in the country here. You wouldn't think that, but we do. So I love going to the country when, now that I live in the big cities. So certainly, so I kind of also had a sense of it wasn't that different from things that I knew. I mean, in terms of the country, and it's not with mountains. It's kind of flat in Tennessee. I mean, there are mountains, but is that in the east or in the west? I don't know, but
that's in the east. Yeah. East.
That's in the east, yeah. And it's very similar to some places here in Denmark, which I found remarkable. It's not like going to India, say, or even to Arizona, totally different. You know what it's like there. So in that way, I just thought, wow, it's very special. And I understood what it was because I know the country here as well.
I've heard many times people describe the parts of Europe that Tina enjoyed the most. I've heard it said, it's a lot like Tennessee. There are a lot of similar areas. So I like to think that was some of the draw, for her to Europe. But I also know it was the great fans over there that was so supportive of her.
Of course, she had this remarkable fame and legacy here, even when she didn't have a record, she could still sell out. And that was extraordinary. People are very loyal here in Europe. And I think maybe it's a contrast to America. That's always what Tina said, that people forget more in America. But I also know she had really hardcore fans that waited until she was back on tour. But the same in Europe. But I think what she really liked about Europe was that there are so many different countries, different cultures. You just cross a border, and then France is totally different from Germany and Switzerland and Spain and Italy. They're all different places. and the culture and the architecture and everything is very old. I think this is what she enjoyed, and the place where she lived in Switzerland that I went to see a few times was quite remarkable, very beautiful as well, to out to the lake.
Yeah, I think that being surrounded by that natural beauty and those things like that help to ground anyone. They certainly ground me if I've, been off in New York and get to, come back here and say, wait a minute, this is real. This is grounding and brings you back to where you're at and what your purpose is.
Yeah, it's a huge culture shock to go from Tennessee to New York. I know that because I also lived, in New York a few times, back and forth, and I just love it. I love the city, but it's like you have to run at a very fast pace all the time in New York. It's grand, it's enormous.
It absolutely is. And I loved visiting there and I want to go back, but Tennessee's always home and a great place to come back to.
Yeah. So tell me just a little bit, Sonia, about your backstory. Were you born and raised in Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm from right here in Brownsville. I grew up on a cotton farm just outside of town, about 12 miles in the other direction, opposite of Nutbush. Yeah, I've been here all my life. Farmed for a lot of years, had a couple of careers before coming here, and not, been a lot of other places, but not really found anywhere else I want to be but right here. So it's home.
It's home, yeah. So everybody, I mean, what was said also after Tina's passing was that she got her flowers while she was still alive, while she was still on this planet. I mean, who else can say that? Having a movie done about her life when she was only 53, I think, and a musical that is a huge success, several books, several major award-winning documentaries, and of course the whole legacy. I mean, I suppose she became certainly a legend in her own time, and I guess that was because of her tragic and dramatic backstory with Ike and everything we've heard about. Maybe she would not have been such an inspiration for survival to both women and men as well. I mean, of course, she would be praised as the biggest female rock star and her talent and all of that. But it was really the backstory. It was a bad thing for her in a way, but yet it also created everything she got, right?
I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason. Sometimes things are happening to push you out of a direction, you're the wrong direction, into another path or something. But I think her story has, as tragic as it has had a lot of positive influence on other people and has helped people overcome and deal with and survive things that they may not have done if not knowing, somebody else has gone through that. They did well. I can do this. So, I think, what was that she liked to say about turning poison into medicine? So I think she definitely proved that with her life, that you can take any situation and turn it around and make it better for yourself.
And she certainly did that. It was a remarkable comeback, and her solo career was so, extraordinary, really. And in America, certainly, but also in Europe. I mean, you can't get bigger if you talk about a legend. She certainly is. Her and Elvis, I suppose, both Tennessee children.
Yeah.
But
and think about Irwin. I mean, look at the reward, the love, that was probably her biggest reward for going through all that, was having him and experiencing that kind of love that she had not gotten as a younger person.
She didn't know that kind of love. That's what she said. And that was, that was so amazing for her. And what we also know, of course, famously now, that he donated one of his kidneys to Tina in I think on the 7th of April, 2017. And it did prolong her life a bit. I mean, for several years until 2023, but we had hope that she could carry on for much longer, huh?
Right. Yes.
But I mean, we hear now that maybe that new huge estate that they bought in Switzerland, that maybe he will turn that into a Tina Turner museum as well. Have you heard anything more? Any details about that?
All I know is just what I've seen in some of the news stories.
So maybe there could be a museum on both sides of the ocean there, which could also be interesting. I hope that you in one way or the other could have a good contact to Irvin with him, and that would be wonderful if that could actually happen, if he will do something specific and wonderful for the fans, for Tina and her legacy. That's I think that is something I think we're all hoping, huh?
Yes.
So in our remaining moments here, Sonia, talk about something that is a little bit funny, or fun to talk about. Tina's songs. What are your favorite Tina Turner songs?
Well, Nutbush City Limits, of course. How can I not say that, being here in Nutbush in the community? We don't need another hero. I think that's a pretty cool song. I love that we have the costume from her tour when she did that song here. It was funny when we were uncrating that particular costume and I saw the wig, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I always felt sorry for her in the movie because the earrings were so huge. And I'm like, her ears just have to be dying while she's got that on. And to learn that those earrings were sewn into the wig, I'm here in the country. I would have never occurred to me to sew the earrings into the wig. So that was a fun thing to learn, and probably the best thing I learned when we were uncrating all of that.
But I think she had to do that because that was the stage outfit, and it looked huge. I mean, she had that wig on top of her own wig.
Right.
But when she did the Mad Max movie, she shaved her hair, and it was totally different. And she was also, well, kind of a smaller frame. I mean, she looked like a wrestler on this. I went to see countless shows on the last tour, and it was quite an outfit. She took us all by surprise by wearing that outfit, and it's so amazing that you have it there at the museum. I loved seeing it there.
I think it's amazing that all of those costumes are so heavy, and that she was moving around on stage with that extra weight. I mean, you got to be an athlete to be able to perform and do all that as well with that extra weight. So very impressive.
Very impressive indeed. And can you just talk about a couple of the things that you have at the museum? I think people would be interested in hearing that before they go and see it themselves.
Sure. Well, we have that costume. We actually have 9 costumes from her last tour. We also have the silver jumper that she wore at the Grammys when she performed with Beyonce. We have gold record awards from all over the world, gold and platinum. We have a replica of the Wembley Stadium. The last time she performed there, we have the replica of that stage set up. We have her 80th birthday book on display, the big tabletop book, coffee table book. We play her videos so you can watch the concert, and then you can look around and see those costumes in there. We also have a video that she did for us talking about what she remembers about Flag Grove School and growing up in Nutbush. So you get to hear her tell that story while you're there. But we also have original desk. We have the original chalkboard. We have the original cubbies on the wall from when the school was in service. So it makes it, you walk in, you see the glitz and the glamour of Tina and what she became, and then you turn the corner and there's the old school desk, the stage that she would do devotionals in the morning during school on. And so you really see and get the feeling of what she came from to where she ended up. So lots of things to really look at, and it's not huge. It's just a small one-room schoolhouse, but there is a lot in it and a lot to take in while you're visiting.
Yes, it's absolutely a wonderful place, and I loved being there as well and seeing it. And I can only recommend that everybody go there. And if they are in Tennessee, they certainly must. And a lot of people, I suppose, when they visit Graceland, Elvis's home, they could drive by Brownsville as well to see the Tina Turner Museum. So it's absolutely wonderful, and I hope it will continue to be a huge success there. So before we end, Sonia, do you have anything specific you want to share or something I didn't get to ask you want to tell the audience?
Just please, if you're in Tennessee, we are located between Memphis and Nashville. We're right off of I-40. You're not going to get lost. Just jump off at exit 56 and we'd love to see you. We'd love to share it with you. Our Tina Turner Heritage Days is always the fourth weekend of September. I don't say the last weekend because September has 5 weekends occasionally. So the fourth weekend of September, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we gather here. We celebrate Tina. We do tours to Nutbush. And it's a really great time for fans to get to know each other and build those relationships that are going to last a lifetime.
Absolutely. Just wonderful. And I look forward to going there again and traveling all the way to your wonderful place. And I also hope to see you on this side of the ocean, Sonia.
Well, I hope soon. And I do. When I get to Europe, I'm going to holler at you. Because when I come, I'm going to be there for a while because I'm going to have to visit everywhere while I'm there.
Oh, definitely. But spend some time here, and we certainly look forward to welcoming you in Denmark. So let's talk about that.
All right.
Okay.
It was good seeing you.
And I want to thank you so much for being on my show here and to talk about Tina, how we miss her, her legacy, and everything we went through today. So Sonia Outlaw-Clark, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Lucas. I enjoyed it.
Great.
Right. And I'm in the same room you and Rhonda were in.
Wow, that's good to know. That's a little fun thing. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Enjoy your evening now.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Sonia Outlaw-Clark for joining us from the Tina Turner Museum in Brownsville, Tennessee. And thank you all for watching my show, remembering the Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner. On the Lucas Alexander Show, please like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.